Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Back at it with a studies video. I didn't get to one yesterday because a little bit of a mental headwind for me. I just got so unlucky because I've been hyping up this GME earnings play so much that I was really confident it was going to do something. But no, it didn't. And what did I do before getting into it? Yes. I sold out of my Google calls right here, and I went into GameStop. I would have made way more on Google. And it is what it is. I thought GME would have returned more, to be honest with you. But hey, you know what? Life goes on. I think I'll still be okay. Now, what's interesting is I expected news to happen in the after hours here, but it looked like it got a jump from some kind of Gemini's news today, and then the reports this morning were apparently bullish, so it got a nice little jump from that. And this line here that I've kept is still that same line from the video I talked about in Google. So I'm honestly thinking, because I have SPY starting its run to all-time high today, if you check out my last studies video, I basically said that I didn't expect yesterday to be so bearish on SPY, but it was, and it went down pretty far. I mean, if I had the capital, I would have probably just played calls on SPY instead, because yeah, this was, I mean, just the 1 minute to the 1 hour scaling, it was expected that Thursday was going to be bullish. And if the 1 hour scaling continues to play out, then we should hit 460s before the 13th. So expect all-time highs by Tuesday, or, maybe FOMC, to be quite frank with you, maybe it just kind of like, comes up, fills the gap, blah, blah, blah. And then on FOMC drop, it just like fucking spikes all the way up, right? Like just like this, like no joke, right? Just burn all the put options, and then end of the day, it just like comes down far like this, and then yeah, I guess like over the next 2 days, it just tanks, So maybe it does something like this. And yeah, so it's going to be really interesting. Basically, if SPY is not above 460 by FOMC, it is the easiest call play. Just like all-time highs are locked in, they've been locked in. The pullback happened in the master sequence here. This was it. This was the pullback, and then it was just it was a bullish bias all the way until all-time high. And how far it will go above all-time high is kind of impossible to know, but there was a dark pool print a couple days ago. I don't have proof of it. You'll just have to take my word for it. It was a glitch. People were saying that it was a glitch, but it showed up on some people's charts for like 5 minutes, and the candle went to 474. So 474 might be a target here, but I'm just going to say 470. I think 470 is fair. So never mind SPY, never mind Google. GameStop just made an insane move here. Now, because earnings were bearish and I expected earnings to lift it to 28, I think that GameStop is actually a little bit further back where I thought it would be. And where I think it is in March of 2020. Yeah, 2020. So I was doing some, okay, I got to go on a larger time frame here. Apologies. I think you'll see what I mean. So if you're familiar with this chart, you've looked at it as much as I have. You'll remember this quite fondly. I think this was earnings right here, and earnings caused a pretty vicious spring. What where I think we're at, excuse me, I just got back from the bar, so stomach is all over the place. So, where I think we're at is actually here-ish, and this run up that we're seeing is going to go a little bit above 20. I'm thinking 21. And then this will be FOMC right here, this top. And then FOMC, the whole market's going to correct, right? And this will allow GameStop to spring. And then when SPY enters its next bullish phase is where the real squeeze happens. So I'm kind of torn between two plays here because it's either GameStop or Microvision. AMC is effing dead, okay? It's weak as hell. I see no really crazy returns on this stock. The only memes worth playing are Microvision and GameStop right now. So that's kind of where I'm at because, I mean, dude, just AMC could just go down, you know, like it could go sideways here while the whole market rallies. Maybe it goes up to, how much of a gain would this be? Okay, not bad actually, about a 40% gain. Yeah, so I see, yeah, okay, it's not bad because then that would be the same gain as, yeah, okay, so they'll have the same exact gain, but it's just annoying because while GameStop ran up, you know, 40% already, almost 50%, what did AMC do? Absolutely nothing. So, you know, the two stocks are still in sync in my opinion, but GameStop is just better. It just is. It's all around better. The options are better. The moves are better. It just... Man, it's insane. So, when I had calls for earnings, right? It opened up. I was down 50%, and then I was like, you know, this doesn't really make any sense because either way, if earnings were good or you know, they didn't have to be amazing, but I was expecting some kind of run. So I held through because, you know, I had SPY going up too with the master sequence and the 1 hour scaling. So that's what it did, and then I exited about 5 minutes before, like right as soon as this red candle hit. I sold basically here, and then I went everything that I had into Microvision. So I'm heavy on Microvision right now. I took a small profit on the three strike calls I had in January, very slight, and then I was playing with that money around. But now I'm back in it, and I ended up getting December 15th 4 calls because my whole theory here. So I'm in no other plays right now except for Microvision, and you know, here's my theory. Here's my fractal theory around this one. I think I've shown it before, but I will attempt to show it again. So I think that this is basically all we're really seeing, right? Oh wait, I need to just move it over a little bit. Yeah. And I'll get into the scaling of it, right? So this run up here is very similar to this run up, and you can see it kind of had the same distribution setup, right? And what did it end up doing after it came down? Keeping in mind, right, that there is a gap formed at the bottom of it, just like it did here. And what did it end up doing? Well, it reversed after it filled that gap, right? And it did the same thing here. So already, just structurally, I think that these are really similar. And so what I've done to come to the conclusion that it's going to go to 4 or, you know, higher is that I took a fib from top to the bottom. And you can see it came up on the right here, it came up to the 78.6. I don't think it's going to go that high. I would be really scared to do that. So, but I mean, I'm inclined to think that, right? Because the 61.8 is literally like at the top limit of this gap here, at 5.79, right? So, I mean, it's kind of possible that where we're at. Actually, here, let me take this off. So where I think we're at, keeping in mind that the Federal Reserve is next week and everything's going to run, Microvision is not excluded from this because it's a part of the NASDAQ, right? So, and the NASDAQ is going to run with the rest of the indexes. So, you know, if the NASDAQ pushes through some pretty crazy levels, then I'm inclined to think that Microvision is here, you know? And we're just going to get a spike up until Fed, and it's just going to run nonstop. And I think my target to sell would be 5. You know, we'll see what happens. I think the moral of the story here is that get the hell out and run when the Federal Reserve meeting news drops or whatever, right? If you want to stick with it and, you know, you want to hold through on your longs, you know, as the meeting's going on, fine by you. We have to see where SPY is, right? So it all comes down to SPY. I don't know if I want to like make a video or live stream it or something. If you want me to live stream it, let me know in the comments. I would appreciate any feedback. But regardless, that's kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen, right? So, and you know, if we zoom out a little bit here, this is what's really crazy. I mean, we have to think about how this all lines up in totality. So we have this like megaphone on MVIS right now. And you know, what I'm thinking that it does is it spikes up to about, let's say it actually goes to 6.8, right? So it does this, and then FOMC drops, the whole market corrects. It'll come back down to 3-ish, right? And then the bull market begins again, and it comes up just like it did on the micro, really slowly. And then because you think about it like this, if the spike does actually happen, then that means that it plays out on the macro, and that we see it push above this line, come back down to retest it, and we have a megaphone breakout where it goes back to 28s. You know, so I don't, you know, a long time ago when I was looking at this stock, I thought that it was here on the macro. I thought that this was what's playing out now, right? So we're gonna get literally the same kind of deal here, where it'll go a little bit higher, and you know, it'll come back down pretty heavy, and then this might just be like a cup thing forming, you know? So, you know, yes, all cups are double tops until they're not, right? It's important to know that. But this line could serve as a pretty solid like bull trend, and then it just pushes up. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but you have to think about the military contracts and like the fundamentals that are deeply rooted in this fucking stock, right? I think it might be the best performing LiDAR stock considering how bad its revenue is. Like, how can a company that has been reporting pretty shit revenue when the price is this strong? You know, it doesn't make any sense to me. And like the short interest right now, 20.5 days to cover with the highest amount of short interest that it's ever seen, which means it's becoming more liquid, right? So the fact that it's becoming more liquid, it's got higher short pressure, you know, I mean, this thing can go. And it can be pretty quick moves. So, and then you have to think about how this lines up with SPY, right? Because the master sequence has it going all-time high, and then it comes down like this, right? And it just like bounces, and it goes sideways, and then ultimately in the master sequence it goes up here, right? And then where could it meet a resistance at this point? It can make an all-time high again, and we could be into another bull market. And then after this point, it comes down like pretty hard, I think. I'll have to go back and check on it. So after, don't think too much after this point, right? And it makes another all-time high. So I mean, the bull market is very viable here after this correction, which is going to be very scary. I'm assuming what they're going to say is they're going to cut rates, and then it's going to cause the market to spike up, and then it's going to be like, wait a minute, they just raised. I mean, it's a little tough situation, but regardless, if we apply this to GameStop, right? You apply it to GameStop, it's going to come down after it hits 21-ish, I think, and then pretty far, right? And then the bull market begins, it comes all the way back up, maybe hits this macro line, and then it just kind of digs down for a while, and then it eventually bottoms, and then then it squeezes. I mean, these are the two stocks that are, these are the two memes that are the way to go. AMC, it could come up just like pre-January fractal sequence, and then it digs down here, goes to like 4-ish, and then it plays its January sequence where it goes pretty effing high. I mean, what would the returns be on AMC here? 600%. GameStop, what are the returns here? You also have to think about how, this is like a bull flag, is it not? I mean, I don't even need to draw trend lines. I mean, this structure is just bullish as anything. It's the bull market would basically bring all-time highs, which would be about 600%, just like AMC. So I mean, I guess they'll equal out and they'll stay synced. Microvision, I mean, I think this was the best performing, or it provided the best returns where it started. It went from 15 cents to 28. 18,000%. I mean, same thing with GameStop. So yeah, I think GameStop and Microvision have been the main dogs, you know what I'm saying? So it doesn't really matter what stock you play, as long as there's excuse me, as long as there's like decent fundamentals underlying in the stock, right? As long as there's good shareholder presence, popularity, right? It's got the funds, it's got, not to reiterate, but decent fundamentals, then you could honestly, like, from now until FOMC, like, it doesn't matter what stock you play, as long as those contingencies are met. The calls should do fine, in my opinion, and then get out on FOMC, become a bear, and then we just go short on this market until maybe like February or whatever. And then after February, man, it's January squeeze sequences all over again, you know what I'm saying? Exciting times that we're in, exciting times. Hopefully Microvision does me well. Every time I've played this stock, I'll tell you, every point that I've played this stock, I played from here to here, I panic sold. So I almost ran up, I could have made big here. I got in here, sold here, right? Could have made a little bit extra more, it's fine. I went from here to here, thank God. And then I went from here to here, got scared. And then I think I went calls here, and then I kind of got lost from theta. And I missed out on this spike. And then I lost because I played calls like way back in the beginning. I played calls around here, got burned. But it's like, I feel like I have every time I play this, I feel like there's something that calls to me when it's about to spike. And this time, I'm not gonna sell out early, so I'm excited, right? I mean, I could have stayed in GameStop and gone for the 20, but the returns would not have been as crazy as Microvision, because look at these option pricings for 4. Look at that, $3 ask. Are you serious? Right? Like, probably could have played 3s next week. Look how cheap that is. It's a what's the word? It's a $1 difference. It's a $1 spread for 3. You know, and it's at 2.5. Like, are you serious? So, yeah, I think if you've keeping up with me despite my failures in tracking the micro, the direction has been there the whole time. I mean, see, like it's all-time high is coming, man. You can't fight it. It's gonna happen. And then this 2-leg drop sequence that's gonna take place is gonna be absolutely insane. I really hope that you guys look into this and consider it. I've shown you the master sequence top. You know where to look. Try tracking this on your own. I believe that the target after FOMC, pay attention here please, is going to be these 1-minute gaps here. So we should just run up nonstop until FOMC, and then the next day after FOMC, it should come down to 454, go sideways for a day maybe, and then it will begin its crash or correction, and it should come all the way down to, there are some gaps over here. It should come down to 423 to fill these gaps, and then I think that'll mark the bottom of the first leg. And then it will, you got to be careful here. You really got to be careful, because it should come up pretty far, and this should be like weeks, man. I mean, this bounce is going to be slow. It's just going to be brutal, right? It's going to kind of be like this consolidation up at the top here, where it's just swings. I don't know how this top structure is going to look. I'll have to, when it starts to form is when we'll be able to look at it. But regardless, right, after it hits, like, if it comes up to 438, I guess by 404 puts a couple months out, and should be able to do well off of that. Not financial advice. Everything that I say is not financial advice, right? It's just you gotta do what you gotta do, man. So that's what I'm looking at. I hope that this made up for not doing the daily studies yesterday. We'll see how it goes. I really hope that tomorrow, when I do make my next studies video, that Microvision comes to play, and because it's kind of just been doing nothing this whole time while GameStop's been running, and I think AMC's in that same position, right, where it's just kind of doing this thing. And if you go back on AMC, if you have time, look for these situations where this triple higher high has formed. Like, I'm telling you, go back on the stock, look for this triple higher high, and you will find it everywhere before a big move. It could either crash, right? It could either just die here and go down more, or it could run up. And I think we saw this same structure in the November 2021 drop. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we kind of saw it here, right? It's not perfect, but we saw it here and it broke down. So the stock is really low. The market is overall bullish. Excuse me. Sorry, man. So, yeah, exciting times coming up. I hope you guys do well, and I hope that you look into this. The whole point I make these videos is to basically showcase that, fractals are key. It's another tool in the toolbox, right? You got TA, you got math, you got ICT, and fractals, and if you can understand all of them to a mediocre degree, it's just, man, it's like you become a powerhouse, right? And I'm only learning new things every single day. So I hope you guys do well, like I said, and until next time, peace.